Look, it's all zeros. 0% financing, 0% down, 0% repairs and labor costs for 10 years. Experience the premier difference today. Financing is available with approved credit. Offer expires 9/30/2024. Premier Heating and Air is offering system checkups. Heat or AC, your choice, $49. Free estimate restrictions may apply, and this offer can't be combined with other offers. Experience the premier difference today. Log on to dublin.premierishere.com. Premier Heating and Air, a locally owned and operated company.
Welcome everybody. I'm glad to have with me today Lee Newsome with Curry Maffett Insurance. You don't look that old, but y'all been in business since 1902.
Yeah, I didn't start then.
Yeah, started in high school, but it's a busy time of the year right now that you really wasn't expecting with this storm coming in. But Lee, we have covered this county since Friday, but one question everybody's asking is, you know, how to file a claim. I hadn't filed a claim yet. So number one, how do they file a claim? And then how long do you have to file a claim?
So the best way to file a claim is to get in touch with your agent. Unfortunately, a lot of the agents in their offices are in the same boat a lot of the homeowners are, in that they don't have power at their offices or phone service at their office. So a lot of times you can find a 1-800 number on your policy, or you could go online to the company that you have your insurance with and look for the information there, and you can file a claim that way if you have cell service or phone service.
And how long do you have to file a claim?
We're a long way off from that
Right.
sort of thing. They have months, you know.
Okay.
So that we're not in any kind of danger of that yet. So they have plenty of time to file.
Yeah, the reason I asked, people are devastated, and just the shock of what's going on, power outages, you know, some people won't get power back till late next week. That's the reason for the question. Okay, looking ahead, you know, I mentioned off camera to you, you know, people saying, I wish I had a generator. Well, for the next storm, I'd buy a generator, not now, because it might be a little higher, but once the dust settles, go and start shopping for generators. But how about insurance? What is something that we miss? Like one of our schools was flooded, their houses flooded. How do you get flood insurance?
Yeah, so insurance is like a lot of things. You get what you pay for, and you know, it's kind of hard time you're kind of trying to balance that. You don't want to have insurance that you're never going to need, but when you need it, you want it. You know, we always say that everybody, when it comes time to pay the premium, nobody wants coverage, but when it comes time to have a claim, everybody wants the coverage. We did have some situations in this storm with as much rain as we got that there were things that would have been covered by a flood policy that weren't covered by your regular homeowners. Now, should you go buy flood insurance if you're not in a flood zone? That's a debate that you would have to have, because it's $200 or $300 a year, maybe even more over the life of your owning the home. You may have been better off to not buy the insurance, but you do want to know that's what you need to cover this stuff. But as far as your question about what kind of insurance do you need when you're looking for a company, you want to think about things like tree removal. On a regular standard homeowner's policy, there's only $500 for tree debris removal. But some of our nicer policies have up to $3,000 for that. So when you're making your decisions about which policy to buy, you don't want to just think completely just price, because most all the companies you're going to get kind of what you pay for. So you may have a higher premium, but it may offer more coverage. So that's one thing to look for.
Well, I had a man, he had a couple trees down, and he said that his insurance company told him that he was going to have to handle it himself because it didn't damage anything. What about that?
Yeah, that is the case for the most standard policies, that they're not on a covered structure. There is either no or very little coverage to remove the tree.
So you mentioned like the $500. Is that a kind of standard on the Is that kind of like a token help or?
So, and it's one of those things where if you don't have any other damage, you probably don't really have a claim there.
Right.
But if you do have a other damage, well, then your deductible is going to be used up. So then they
Right.
can add the debris removal to the check they give you.
Okay.
But for it to be a standalone claim for just
Yeah.
tree removal, most policies, it's not going to be in your best interest to make that claim because you're not going to get very
Okay.
much, if any, money for it. And then but you would have a claim on the record.
So if it falls on your driveway and cracks your driveway?
I would file that.
Okay.
Yes.
And what are you getting right now? I know you've got to be inundated with calls. What are you hearing when people call?
This storm in particular is a big tree storm. Everything, almost all of the damage involves a tree. I don't know what the meteorologist or the geologist would have to tell me why this one, but this one, trees, everybody lost trees and trees fell on things. So it's surprisingly not a lot of roofs that were just damaged by the
That's right.
wind. Most of the roof damages have been from a tree hitting it, not necessarily the wind just blowing it off. Whereas other storms we've had in the past, the roofs were damaged by hail or wind. This one, most of the roofs were fine, other than if a tree hit it.
Yeah. There's a lot of. They must be 50,000 trees down in Lawrence County.
Yeah, and it seems like maybe even the bigger trees fared
Yeah.
worse. It was like the typical pine did okay, but the big
did.
oaks and pecan trees, this
I
one
don't
got
get
it.
it
I don't
either.
understand why that was.
I lost a tree around my pond. It's at least 100 years old. And never would I have thought this big oak tree, even the root system when it come down, probably 3 times as tall as I am. So yeah, there's old trees that you never would have thought in 100 years.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, I see pine trees just standing right there along the other one. So yeah, that is
Strange.
that's tough.
You ready to meet the latest addition to the family? The money you saved us with auto owners helped make it all possible. It really is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Excuse me?
Third best thing. Third best thing.
Auto Owners offers discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance because they think the more you protect, the more you should save. That's simple human sense.
Ask Curry Maffett Insurance in Dublin and Augusta if auto owners make sense for you.
If these walls could talk, they'd cry uncle. They didn't plan to become offices or yoga studios, but they've stood by us, even when we got a little stir-crazy. For that, they deserve some thanks. They deserve Benjamin Moore.
Quality products and installation since 1985. That's 4 Seasons.
Go back to what you were talking about. When you buy an insurance, you want to cut this, cut that. I don't want to pay any more premiums. But will the insurance companies let you, and like I have outer structures. I've got 3 outer structures, pool house and barns.
Yes.
And I know there's a place when you buy insurance, like other structures, outer structure, however you word it. But are you better off to over-insure that? Like if it costs $60,000 now, what if it happens in 10 years, should you?
So other structures are definitely an insurance problem, and you definitely need to tell your insurance agent when you have other structures, especially if you have something a little bit more elaborate than
Right.
the average. That's actually a good way to think about it. If you have the average home with the average shed, an average policy will probably take care of it.
Right.
But if you have something that you look around and most of your neighbors don't have it, you probably need to tell your insurance agent about that. So the way other structures work is whatever the number is, what we call in the insurance business coverage A, which is the amount that we think that it's going to cost to replace your home, the main building. 10% of that number is allotted for other structures, is included in the policy. So let's just say an average $250,000 replacement cost house built into the policy, no extra charges, $25,000 for other structures. Okay. So, but if you have, you've got a pool house, another barn, you probably have more than that. So you need to tell your agent that, and they would add those coverages in there for those.
Yeah, you don't need to hold back on your agent. That's what I just heard what you said. You know, people say, well, I ain't gonna tell them this. You know, your insurance agent is on your side.
That is, I would say that's probably in this, since I've been in this business, I kind of came in at the beginning of the internet phase of it. People, because you hear on TV commercials, oh, we can give you a quote in 15 minutes. That's how long people think an insurance quote should take, is 10 or 15 minutes. But really, to really get the coverage the way you need it, it needs to be a sit-down conversation where you really talk about everything that there is. Because now is the time when people maybe are wishing they had a longer conversation with their insurance agent.
Yeah, internet, I would definitely not buy on the internet. It just, you know, everybody's gonna save you $700. Well, if your premium's only $700, well, they're gonna give it to you. You know, you gotta think about those things. But, you know, the agent is your friend, and to add to what you just said, you would probably, if you have more, pool house, got this, got that, got a fishing dock, those kind of things, I think you'd want to do a walkthrough on the home, because you may see things that the homeowner they might not think they need to add more for other structures. Is that something that?
It's, a lot of times we can do that. The insurance companies have started sending people out. But yeah, we love to spend as much time as possible on the policy. A lot of times the customer, just because customers have been trained to think that this should be a quick process, and it really should be something we probably take a little bit more time. And we're guilty of it too as agents. We get busy and you know, we're trying to get through, and maybe we don't have time to go out somewhere. But the industry as a whole probably needs to slow down and take more time and care into all of it.
Well, a 10-cent conversation is going to cost you thousands.
That's right.
And a company like, and I said it at the beginning of us talking, you know, Curry Maffett, been in Dublin since 1902. There's a lot of experience, a lot of trial and error, a lot of, just a whole lot of experience for us, you know, the person needs insurance, that versus someone that only sells one line. You're independent, aren't you?
That's right.
What's the advantage of that?
Well, there's advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is that when the company doesn't, you know, the company has a real rate hike, or they won't insure a certain thing that you have, we have other companies to go to. The disadvantages is that my buddy John Mark Butler's with a State Farm agent, and they do a great job. But one thing I'm jealous of him about is that he only has to learn about State Farm. You know, he knows State Farm does it this way, whereas we have to we have to try to figure out 20 different companies how they do things. So there's just like most things, there's trade-offs. But I don't have anything bad to say about any of the other agents here in Lawrence County, in Dublin, Lawrence County. What I would say is use one of us. Use one of us local agents. Because we're going to be at the grocery store with you. We're not going to purposely do you wrong. We might mess up. We might not do everything perfect, but we're trying our best. And I can say that about the State Farm agents, the other independent agents, all the other guys in town. They're doing the best they can. I would try to do business with one of us guys, and not you know, something just online or something where the person you're talking to is in another.
Could care less. They could be in Pakistan.
Those are the policies that I see. There's a lot of issues. But if you go to one of the local guys that has a building and a home and an office in this community, all of those people will do you as good a job as they can. Yeah,
just like you're talking about John Mark, the local guys are in civic organization together, go to church together. A lot of time you're friends, you grill together, and we do have some, we're fortunate here. We have a lot of good agents. But you really threw me on that answer on the independent. Never thought about what you had to learn, you know, if you got 20 different companies. So I understand that. But for the customer, they can benefit from that, can't they?
Yeah, they can benefit from it. And like I was saying, we talked about earlier, that if you have the average house, you know, everything is going to be a lot easier. Home policies are set up for that average situation. But if you just have one company and something comes in that's a little bit abnormal, that's not average, that's not the normal thing, well, then we have to look to these other companies. And that's kind of a struggle for the State Farms of the world, because once it gets out of that little section, it gets into something a little bit more unusual, then you want to have an independent agent that can find that stuff. And kind of we work together on those things when people go to their normal State Farm agent and they have something a little unusual they can't do, then we'll come in and help out for things like that.
Okay, talking about the pool house, you got a boat under the shelter, you got 2 cars in the garage, a truck sitting out there. Is it true that it's cheaper to bundle all those things instead of going over here, going over there?
It almost always is. It almost always is cheaper. I'm not going to say it's always. I definitely have situations where it's not. But most of the time, you will do better to have it all under one umbrella of one company. And in this situation that we have going on here, a lot of times the companies will waive one of the deductibles. In other words, if one event hurt your car and your house, some of the companies will have built in where you only pay the one deductible instead of 2 deductibles. Where obviously if you have 2 separate companies, they're going to both want their deductibles. So that's not a 100% thing, but there are companies that do that, where if you have a car and a house claim in one event, they'll waive one of the deductibles sometimes.
And one more on that independent is if you got someone insured through ABC and they go up too much, they didn't like the service, whatever it was, then you could go to DEF or whatever, right? You could switch up companies.
That's exactly right. And you know, as the customers who are looking at especially their auto insurance these days, and they're seeing the rates go sky high, that's because we're in what we call in the insurance industry a hard market, meaning that it's hard for us to place business. It's you know, we're the agent, we're in the middle. We look for the customers, but we also have to look for the company to put it with. Well, right this second in the insurance world, it's easier to find the customer than it is to find the company. We're in a hard market, so when there's less companies, there's less competition, the rates go up. So when you're an independent agent, and you have more companies to choose from, and so hopefully you can find one that is competitive.
Since 1916, Gravely has been designed, engineered, and made right here in the USA. Whether you prefer gas or electric, every Gravely has been forged with the commercial landscaper in mind. So they're not only built to last, but to also keep you riding comfortably from dawn to dusk. So ask yourself, are you ready to graduate to a Gravely? Visit your local Gravely dealer today.
Hey, I'm TJ with Dublin Outdoors and Power Sports, formerly known as Myers Equipment Supply. We're your full-line dealer for Gravely Lawnmower sales and service.
This month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and once again, Dublin Chevy GMC is joining the fight against this terrible disease. Hi, I'm Don Carswell, and our team here at Dublin Chevy GMC is asking you to join the fight with us. For every car sold or serviced this month at Dublin Chevy GMC, we will make a donation to our local agency partners. So come on by and pick out a new Chevy or GMC like the Sierra or Silverado or the all-new 25 Equinox. Then our team will make you a no-hassle deal, and we can continue the fight against breast cancer.
And we know insurance is going up, but is it across the board? And explain like the increases now. It's kind of hard to swap somebody else because it's going up across everything, isn't it?
That's right. So in the August inflation numbers nationwide, where inflation as a whole was coming down, in August, the inflation for auto insurance was 16.5%. So the reason that is insurance rates are regulated. So an insurance company can't look and say, oh, things are getting more expensive, we need to raise our rates 3 or 4%. They can't do that. They have to they have to file the rates with the state. That process takes time. So inflation came in, they weren't able to raise their rates immediately because it takes time,
Right.
but their costs were going up, just like everybody else's costs were going up.
Yeah.
It was costing more to fix cars. Cars were staying in the shop longer. Rental cars were costing more. So the insurance companies were incurring more cost, but it takes them longer to make their premiums match those. So we're kind of getting it all at once now. They're having to kind of catch up with inflation all at once. And so all of us are seeing especially our auto insurance rates go up. And unfortunately, after a big storm like this, now we'll see also an increase in our property rates as the insurance companies. Like I tell people all the time, these insurance companies, they don't do it for free. They're not doing this for the fun of it. They're doing it to turn a profit.
You have to.
And we're happy that they are, because it would be hard to imagine a world without insurance. But they are in the business of, making money for their stockholders. So they're going to have to go up on rates to stay in business.
And we should want them to make a profit, whether it's your dentist or insurance or what. You have to make a profit in business, or you're not going to be there for that customer who is insuring with you. It throws everything out. So, last thing, let's talk about homeowners. Last question, but if, like in this storm here, and I've seen this. It's just crazy how it worked. This house got 3 trees. One down here, a guy had 5 trees on his house. One in the middle, it's like they had a dome over it and nothing. There's a few limbs down now, but there's no damage, no trees down, anything. So when these increase and they have to go up. So isn't it a region-wide, or even though that house in the middle didn't file nothing, they got no insurance, but their insurance will go up too, isn't it?
That's exactly right. But the way we have to look at that is that really what we're doing when we buy insurance is we're agreeing to spread the risk over as many people as we can. The people in the middle in that hypothetical that had the house that didn't get hit, it wasn't because of anything they did either. So it could have just as easily have been their house. And so what we're doing in insurance essentially is we're all just agreeing to share a little bit of the risk, so that when it does happen to us, everyone will also share in the adverse parts of it, of having the money that has to go to pay for that. So we're pooling the risk is what we're doing, and it's if ever my kids, when I started explaining this to them, they kind of their face glaze over. But if you just imagine a world without insurance, our economy would grind to a halt. I mean, no bank would loan you $200,000 to buy a house if insurance didn't exist, because they would be one storm away from your house being gone, their collateral. So insurance allows us to do business the way we do business in this country.
Free market capital. That's exactly right. Okay, if you're watching us, you got damage, you got problems, you don't know who to call. Call the TV station. We know the resources to match you up with. So any kind of problem during the storm, you just don't know what to do. Call the station. If we're out, our answering service will pick it up. But we'll call you back and we'll get you matched up with whatever it may be. You need food, you need water, whatever it may be. But on that note, the National Guard is at Southwest Lawrence and East Lawrence. They got plenty of supplies, water, they got tarps for your roofs. The governor was in town this morning, and he told us usually when there's, say, a tornado or whatever, to cut a small swath of woods or something, or homes, there's usually maybe 8 or 10 at the most where they declare a disaster zone. Well, this time it's 41 counties in Georgia.
Yeah, it's a big area. Yeah. And believe it or not, here especially right in Dublin, we fared a lot better than some of those very near us.
Yeah, more east. The further east you went, there's other part on the west part of the county. There's trees down, but not a whole lot of damage. But you get to the east side, and it's just looks like there's been a war going on.
I have a picture on my phone of the radar of the eye right over the top of Dublin. Never thought I'd see that.
Yeah, never seen it, never. And I've watched a lot of hurricanes in my life, so. Okay, Lee, I appreciate that.
All right,
Thanks
thanks,
for so much. And like I said, if you need resources, just call us at the TV station. We'll be glad to match you up. Thank you for joining us today.